worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. All right, just a quick one, folks. First of all, thank you all. I love you all, true indeed. Please continue to like, share, subscribe, and continue to help build the worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. All right. So just sharing the thought that I was have actually had a couple of discussions about with some folks, and it is really more an observation than anything, right? As I have observed over the past several years, how the celebration of Halloween, right, or All Hallows Eve, if whatever you want to call it, has become a lot more um, not just popular, but dare I say, important to a lot of people, right? And I would even say, and this is sort of touching on the conversation that I was having with a couple of folks, like I said, that it had risen in importance, right, in terms of how it's being celebrated, for how long it's being observed, right? Um, and the energy that people put into it, right, is probably the most important thing, has risen in importance, rivaling what we've seen put into the previous top holiday of Christmas, right? Um, and I thought that that was very interesting. And excuse me, folks, pardon me. Perhaps I'm a little parched. Um, but yeah, I thought that was real interesting, right? Excuse me. And it's interesting to me, maybe for reasons different than others, right? Um, one of the things that stood out to me was the duality that I see, right? So, um, anybody who understands what's happening on the planet truly, um, and how the socially economic elite, the low vibrational frequency entities that they themselves even claim to serve, the hidden masters, right? Which we know what they're talking about, the archons, essentially, or whatever title you want to use, right? We know that they're in a panic state, right? And that their nefarious works have increased and even multiplied in many instances. Um, and that presence, right, is what people seem to have been dealing with more, right? Or at least the more overt nature of it now. Because with most of this, we're talking about stuff that was always there. We just were completely oblivious and ignorant to, right? Now that not being the case. But the duality for me, in what I've observed, comes in a an interesting way. With all of that happening on the planet, you can see, rather, I can see, um, esoterically, the usefulness or the, I can respect, I'll say, right? The observance of a time when the veil is particularly thin, right? And I think that it is even a wise and useful thing during that time for you to commune with your ancestors and elders, right? Those who sort of got your back on the other side of the veil. Remember them, honor them, right? Um, Extend your love to them and keep that connection real. And those who utilize this time to do that, like I said, I respect and honor that. So that's one side of it. But then here's the duality: is if you look at the other side, you have those who are utilizing it, or I shouldn't say utilizing it, who are observing it, who are partaking in it ritualistically as an observance or even homage to Sam Hain, right? One of the more nefarious or demonic type presences or entities, right? Um, which is it's almost gotten to be a little bit. I have to admit to you, it's almost gotten to be a little bit not funny to me as much as slightly humorous, knowing now what I know, right, and the true majesty of human beings that we actually have. Indeed, the creative source within us um, makes it humorous to me for a human to first of all lower themselves in stature, right? Or already be holding themselves in stature so much lower than these little entities and demons and whatever. To me, they are smallish, simplistic expressions of energy, right? And I say that because I recognize all of that as being what is the product of low vibrational frequency um, resonance of human beings, right? Folks, we are incredibly powerful in our creative role in the 3D, 4D environment where our biosphere is active, is really dictating so much to the quantum field of what our reality is. Um, so if you check in some of my previous videos, I even go into it in much more detail, the difference between that's a good one to reference. My video titled "The Difference Between Darkness and Evil," um, where I go into much greater depth in how human beings actually manifest evil, or what we refer to as evil. But anyway, I digress back to what I was saying as far as folks using it ritualistically as an observance or an homage, even to Sam Hain, um, which of course is a very low vibrational frequency, um, you know, submittance of yourself to such a being or entity or presence, whatever you want to label that as. But there are people who do that, and apparently in great number and with greater and greater intensity over the recent years, right? Um, so yeah, there's that duality there, um, which is what I see because I probably because of my perspective, looking at it from a purely observational standpoint, because I don't take part in it, right? Um, Either way, unless you know, no, not at all. I was going to say unless you count the way I commune with, my ancestors and elders and those on the other side of the veil who support me, but that's a daily and ongoing thing with me all the time. So, you know, um, they always riding with me. So yeah, I don't do it in particular, you know, any more than I would on a daily basis. But again, I live a lot differently than most folks, admittedly. But yeah, that's the duality that I observe, and and also again that increase, right? It's really ramped up is probably a good way to describe it, folks, because look at the observance time. People are observing it now. Like, man, I've seen people start putting up their Halloween stuff late August or mid August, and it might not come down till after the new year, right? I mean, they're really taking it seriously, folks. So, um, you might want to ask yourself why. All right. I love you all. Worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq.